As the conflict in the Middle East continues to escalate, tensions are also heightening domestically as well, and calls for the Albanese government to do more to protect Australia's national security. Director of Strategic Analysis, Michael Shoebridge, joins me now. Michael, great to see you. Thanks for your time today. I mean, this has escalated dramatically in the past week, the past 24 hours. It's a pretty big question, but how do you assess Israel will strike next?
Well, Holly, I think it's pretty clear that Israel is continuing to attack the Hezbollah leadership, not just across the border in Lebanon, but right in the middle of Beirut and even north of Beirut. We saw some big strikes similar to the one that killed Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader, against the Hezbollah intelligence headquarters. And also targeting the likely successor to Nasrallah. So we're going to see more of that. And we're going to see a continued Israeli push on the ground into southern Lebanon to attack Hezbollah fighters there and destroy weapons, missile launchers and tunnels. And of course, the big question is, what does Israel do to respond to the Iranian failed missile attack? And I think we'll see a pretty strong response against Iranian military facilities.
Just on that, the biggest risk, of course, is Iran's nuclear weapons. Will Israel go there?
I don't think so at this stage. Iran is still trying to develop nuclear weapons, so it's advancing its an uranium enrichment program, and obviously it's got missile technology, but it hasn't actually got a nuclear weapon yet. I think that the priority targets for Israel are going to be Iranian military targets, and missile factories. So missile production, missile storage, and Iranian Republican Guard facilities.
The satellite images at the moment are showing Iran is, of course, shutting down the island where over 90% of its oil is. China buys nearly all of Iran's oil, as we know, of course, for its own domestic purposes too. But if Israel attacks the supply, how will China then respond? How does this implicate Australia? How does this implicate the United States? It's escalating day by day.
Yes, it is. Well, it's a war. This is a war in the Middle East. It's not some minor confrontation with Hamas, separate confrontation with Hezbollah and separate confrontation with Iran. It is a war between Israel and Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies, primarily Hezbollah and Hamas, but of course the Houthis and some of the militia in Iraq and Syria. So it's a war. How will China respond? Well, China is a bad faith player in the Middle East, and it's really just taking full economic advantage any way it can. So yes, it buys a lot of Iranian oil, and it's dependent on Iranian oil exports and those facilities. I don't think Israel will attack those facilities at this stage. I think it'll focus on military targets, because this is about Israel demonstrating to the Iranians that Iranian power against Israel doesn't cause much damage, but Israeli military power can inflict direct losses wherever they like in Iran.
Michael, I want to talk to you about the impact here domestically in Australia. Everyone's feeling it at the moment. I mean, Iran's ambassador to Australia recently posted a tribute to the slain leader of Hezbollah. The comments are not in the best interest of Australia's national security, obviously. Has the Albanese government failed in its stance here, in your opinion?
Well, I think they've done some very strange things. They don't appear to have even called the ambassador in to meet with the foreign minister. But we've seen this from the government when it comes to China as well. When an ambassador does something reprehensible, or when their home government does something reprehensible, the government's playbook is to have an official buried in our Foreign Affairs Department make a telephone call to the relevant embassy. Really, step one is Penny Wong saying, "Ambassador, come to see me. Let me tell you, you need to stop celebrating terrorism or you will be sent home." They haven't done that. So yes, they're failing on the diplomacy. And of course, that's something the government has been continually congratulating itself for, about how astute they are with diplomacy. Not here.